what we are going to do today is we are going to go through the analog way of creating database and table. So previously we have talked about the code way, and also the code way we talked about that the only one that is still valid in this analog way is so I'm going to get this out of that code. So let me go back there. So whenever you're trying to create a database, this is very important. How you connect to the database, very important. So if you do not put anything, if you do not want to use the code way, you must do what? Connect the database. That's the best thing you need to do. First thing. So now let's go. Let me just. I'm not trying to connect anything with anything now, but just trying to show you the one that's still valid. Now the rest, the creating table, creating database, creating table, inserting data, all those stuff, you can still do that inside of the database. So but what I want to show you now is how we can do what? Create table and also create our database analogously. So what I'll do is I'll come here. So here I'm going to create a new database. So I'm going to call that database. So I'm going to call it, so when you click on it, say new database, give it a name. So that's the database name. So BYU, let me just put DB there, BYU DB. So I'll just click here, create. So I've created a database. This is it. So now we need to create what? Your table name. Now we can have as many tables as we want inside of your database. So but now we are going to be using only just one. So for now I'm just going to create a table called what? User. You can call it client, which I usually use the client. So you can call it anything you want to call it. So I'm going to call my own user. So I'm just put users so it will look different. So user. Now let me just create 4 columns for now. So if you want to create more column, you can create more column, which we are going to create more column, unlike the one we did in our previous one. So we are going to create more column. So here I'm just going to create 4. After we can do what? Increase it as we want. So I'm just going to click create. So what we have done now is that we have just created the database, and we have done also created the table. So instead of the database, okay, I think I made a mistake. So create. So yeah, no, you're. So now what we are going to do is we have just created 4 columns. So now instead of here, the first thing first we always pass here is always the ID, just like we did in our previous using the code. So the ID. So the next thing you need to do also here is now the ID, the type of this ID. Now what is the type of our ID? Need to be integer. So now the characters we're going to accept, I'm going to say 11. So the characters, last time we did 6, but this time we're doing 11. So now you're going to scroll down to this point, to this part here, where you see this AI. Now this AI stands for auto increment. If you could remember the last time we were writing the code, we talked about the auto increment. What it does, the auto increment does is that it will increase the moment it will when someone register, when the next person try to register, it will add the number to the first person that registered to create the next person. So if I click on this, you see that primary, just like we had in the code. So auto increment primary. So I'm going to scroll down backward, so you can just ignore all this other stuff for now. So here I'll come back here, and I'm going to create my, okay, let me see, full name. So if you want to create first name, last name, this you can still do that. I'm just trying to create all at once. So full name. So okay, let me just create it one by one. Now let's put them. So first name, and you can, it's not advisable to write like this. Not even though it's going to convert it, even if you write with capital letter instead of a, it's still going to convert it to small letter. So always know that anything within the cell of the database will always convert to small letter. So here now for first name, what we're going to do is we're going to use variable character varchar, just like we did before. So varchar, so variable character means that you can accept integer, you can accept text, you can accept anything that you put inside of it. So I'm going to put that, and then so what I'm going to do is I'm going to give it a large number like 255. Now there's a reason why I'm giving it a large character. Most people first name could be even longer. I don't think anybody's name is going to be that long to reach 255, but I know that people's names are really crazy, can be very, very long. So we're just going to give them that space, 255. So we don't need to click on any other thing here. So here I'm going to put the, let's say, middle name. So middle name. So middle name also have to be variable character, and we'll take the 255 also. So same thing with our last name. You can say surname, whichever one. So last name. So same variable character. So I'm going to give them that 255. So now you see that our column, now we still need more column. In case you are using it, you see we need more column. Now what we are going to do is we're going to come up here. So you see the table name. So we say how many columns do you need? So I will say let me just bring in three more. So click go. See 3 more just appear. So here I'm going to pass in email. So email, and email will have to be variable character. So I can still leave this email at 255 because I think 255 is very, very long. So we just put it at 255 character. So now, but for email, we're going to make our email unique. We don't want more than one email in that database. So we don't want the same email twice. That's what I mean. So we don't want the same email twice. So we're going to scroll down. So we're going to scroll down here to this point. So this is how you make sure you are sure that you are in the role for the email. So you scroll down to this point. So you click on this place where the index is. Click here, and you do what? Click on unique. So if you click on unique, something will pop up here. Just don't mind, just click on go. You're done. So you just made the email unique. So I'm just going to scroll back. So I'm going to come back here. So now another thing I'm going to put is password. So password. So now password is going to be variable character. Someone once asked me, why do we make password variable character? The truth is that password is not PIN. If you want to you have to specify it in variable character. So if it is if you want your password to be just like the PIN where they put only numbers, then that one will be inside of the code. You have to perform a logic to accept only PIN number. But it's always advisable whenever you're writing a password, always put them in variable character so you can accept both text, special character, and number. So now we are going to give, I'm going to give the password because of, so I'm going to give it the same 255. So don't really need to do anything here anymore. So now let's talk about date. Last time we did something called, so I'm going to set it also the date to variable character. So last time we set it to integer because we were using timestamp. So now we are going to set it to variable character. Why? Is because we are going, whenever we want to create table, it's always advisable to do what? Create your own date. So it's always advisable, instead of you creating the same based on the time that the user. Now the reason why you shouldn't use the the current timestamp is because sometimes I think if you do not specify time zone, your your database may record the person's time the current the person's time. So which if someone is in America and someone is in UK, it's not the same time. So it's always advisable to do was specify your own time, specify the time zone instead of your so it's always advisable to specify your own time instead of the so instead of your own code. So you perform a logic that is going to describe the time that you really want. So here I'm going to say 255. Oh, it's too big. Let me just put 30. So it doesn't matter if you put the 255, it's not going to cost anything. So you just put it in anyone you want. So now if you wanted that current timestamp, that one we did that time in the code, look at it here. You just click on it, it will give you the user time, current time. So but we are just going to leave it at none. So we just avoid so we can create the time ourselves. So now one thing again, I'm going to come here, I'm going to preview this code. If you see, this is exactly what we wrote that time. This is that code we were copying before. So just previewing the code to show you it's exactly what we did when we were copying code. So I'm going to close this and I'm going to click save. So click save. So we have created the table user. So we have created what? The table user. So now this is it. So now this is just a structure. Now when I click here, you will see it in column. So the moment you register a particular user, the user enters here just like the way it did in our previous table, this one. So you know when we register the user, they just enter there just like that. So I'm just going to come back here. So now I will show you some things that we can do inside of the database. So one of them is, you see we have already created this. Assuming that you forgot a particular column that you wanted to put. Let's say you wanted to put let's say 3 columns. You want to put occupation and you want to put country, and you also want to put the image, probably a space for image. That's a space for the person profile image. So how do you do it? So but you are already done, you have already reached this part where you have created everything. So what you need to do is you make sure that you're in this structure. So you see, come down here. So since I just mentioned 3 that I want to put 3, I'll just come down here, say add what? 3 more columns. Now, so in 3 more columns. Now where do you want to add it? Now this is what I have, so I will choose to add it after password. So I want them to be after password. The 3 columns should be after password, then before the date. So I'm just going to come here and click after password. So click here, go. So now I'm going to come here. Now the first one I said was, so let's start from the image. So I'm going to put image. So image, maybe it's for profile image, whichever one. Let me put it profile image, because mostly going to be profile image. So profile image. So yeah, I'm going to give the profile image variable character and the length is also going to be that 255. Now I'm going to scroll down here. Okay, I'm going to come here. Now I'm going to give this image null. Now let me explain why I'm giving it null. So the moment you give it null, you can see that it tick here also. You can just tick there, just specify it null. So now why am I specifying it null? Others was just a none. But what it means for others is that if I don't, it will not register. It won't send any data into this database. That is for others that you are sending none. It won't send any data to this database if you do not put data to enter those particular columns. But for this one that is null, we are leaving it empty. We are saying even if they put data inside of it, it doesn't matter. We should just, the data can still be what? Empty. So why is that? Because most time people don't register immediately with their profile picture. So you should not be waiting for them. Maybe other stuff you can do, what you can just put put that profile picture after the person has registered. The person can, whenever he likes, he can just go and register and put the profile picture. But if you want the person to register immediately, you can just put the none. But even if you want the person to register immediately, you still can still leave the null. So it's still not going to do anything wrong. So the null is always safe when you know that you don't want to force a user to input the image immediately. So now for the country, spelling it wrong. So country variable character, so give it the same 255. So I don't really need to do anything there. So next one will be occupation. So also give that one variable character and 255. So you can also as well preview the code again, so you could see the code if you choose. I don't usually preview the code, but because of you, we are still learning it. You can just preview the code, say it after table user, add profile image, variable character. You can just read the code. Default null, so default should be null. After what? Password. So also add country variable character, not null. So anyone that you leave in none will be what? Not none. So like I said, so after what? Profile image. So add occupation variable character 255, not null, after country. You see the way the thing is being structured. So now let me just close this. So now let's save. So save. There's an error. You see. So unknown column country in users. Am I having this error? start it over again. Okay, now just insert just one first. I'll be sure that this go. Double character 55. Successful. Well, let me try again. Let me insert two more. Oh, mistake. So two more. After profile email, so click two more. This one has to be country. Variable character also 255 and 255. So save. I don't know what happened the other time, but it's now added. So this is it here. So now another thing again want to explain. Now I told you before we started that this thing is your local database, meaning if you are done with this local database, when you're done creating this and you're created a website, you still need to get this database out of here and send it out to what? To the online database. And the funny thing is that the online database is exactly like this. Exactly like this. The online database just exactly has exactly everything that you have. So the only difference is that that one is online and it is connected to your hosting site. So now how do you export this database out and bring how do you export it out? So I want to export the database, so I'll just click, make sure you're clicking on database sometime. So I'm going to come here and click export. So this is it. If you go to your download, see it's already, so you can go to your download, you're going to see it there. This is it. So now another thing again is we have just exported it outside. So what I will do again is I will delete this. So how do you delete a database? Let me click on it. So make sure you have it. It's not a must that whenever you are done with project you should delete it. I'm just trying to show you how you can delete a database. So since what I will do is, as I have exported it out, I'm going to bring it back. So but first of all, let's talk about how we delete it. So I have deleted it. You click to operations. If you want to delete a particular database for any reason, maybe you feel like the database does not do what you want, you can just come here. But before I go to database, let's talk about let me click on this. Oh, I think I just exported the okay. So this is it. So so you see, if there's any of this column that you don't want, you can do what? Drop it, or you can make a change instead of it. Like now, let's say you are done writing thing, you have written something here, and you and you feel like there's changes that you want to make here, you can just come here, change it. So you can change whatever you feel like, change it and put whatever you want to. Maybe change this to 25 or make any other change. So click saved. Now this will do what? Accept what? 25 character is it now, no longer 25. So but if you feel like you want to delete it, you can also come here and do what? Delete it. Click on drop. So do you really want to drop this column? So click drop. So we no longer have last name there any longer. So now what about the whole database? So if this table itself, by the way, if this table itself, you just come here, make sure you see. If you notice I'm just clicking on any one that I want, you have to click on that one to make sure that you are in that particular data table or database, so you don't get yourself confused. So I'm clicking on the table. If you want to drop the table, just come here. So go to operations. So scroll down. So you can see. Scroll down. So you see where they say delete table. So you can empty the table, but let's say delete the table entirely. So the table is gone. So let me delete the database itself. So I just click on the database, go to that same operation. You see that okay. So scroll down. So look at it here. So you drop database. So drop it. It's gone. No more database. So now I deleted it for a reason also. I deleted it because on your online database now you will have what? I've already exported the database, meaning that now what I need to do is bring it to what? Online. So I have exported the database from my local database. I have taken it here. Now let's assume that this same local database was online, because I say the online database is similar, exactly like what? This local database. So now let's assume that we want to do what? Import this to our online database. So I will take this for example. This is now our online database. First thing you need to do is make sure that you have the same. First thing you do is make sure you remember the name of your database. So the name of my database is BYUDB. So you do what? Create what? Database called what? BYUDB. Create. You have created it. So you do what? You come to import. And when you come to the import, you click on choose file. So you go to your download and select on that particular one. Click open. So this is it here. So there also have to warn even though there's no possibility for you to have anything that is too big, that is bigger than even 20 MB. Not sure that is possible. So but if you have, this is the max 40. So now click on import. It have imported everything. So let me go look at the user is back. So when I click here, structure, okay, click on the user, click on, you can see everything is back. So everything is fully back. So that's how we can manipulate our database. So now let's say you want to connect it. So you have already bought the database. The next thing you need to do is connect it inside of your page. Let me use the previous code that we have. Okay, we already have the code here to connect. So connection. So the name of our database is BYUDB. So make sure that whenever you connect it, you take your code online. So let's assume that you are taking your code online. First thing first, you need to do what? Put the password of that your online database here. Then sorry, the username of that you're on, the use and register that your online database here, and also put the password that you use and register here. Now you put what the name of your database, which is BYUDB. So next thing is, I think, yeah, these are the same use I created users here. So now connect it, make sure it's connected like this. Let me write a condition. I'm going to say if connect. Let me use this. Let me use the table. Okay. Let me use procedure for now. So procedure. Let me just print this area, this message. So let me just print it out. So if it is not connected, then do what? Die and do what? Print out the error, else print it successfully. So let me copy path. So copy path. Control V. So remove from this path local host, click. So it's connected successfully. So now next thing we're going to talk about is table. Is OOP. So I want to do the introduction for OOP today, so we can just know what it is. Now OOP stands for Object Oriented Programming. So object oriented programming, what is the main job of this OOP? It is used to OOP execute, so it is faster and easier to execute. It provides clear structure for program. It helps keep your code dry, meaning it helps you not repeat a code over and over again, and makes the code easier to maintain, modify, and debug. So OOP makes it possible to create full reusable application with less code and shorter development time. So exactly what we if you're using procedure, you'll find out that you have to be repeating code over and over again. You'll be writing code that you're writing over and over again to achieve the particular thing goal you want. So but with OOP will minimize that code. So if you minimize that code, shorten the lines of code you have to write, it will also make the code quicker to edit, and that is very, very important. A code that can be able to be debugged is very, very good. So if you it will make it very easier for anyone to help you. So it is also faster and easier to execute. So now we have what we call, instead of this OOP, we have what we call the classes, and we have what we call the objects. So now what is the classes? Now for example, you can see what we have here. A class can be just like a group of family. Like we have the fruit. Now instead of a fruit has what? A stem. Sorry. A fruit have a seed. I think almost every fruit have a seed. So they have the fleshy part. So I think, okay, let me use a car to explain, because car will explain it more better. So for example, you have a car. The word car belongs to the whole family of this a certain vehicle. Now but this vehicle have what? This car always they have tires, they have brake, they have they have doors, they have the shell total. So they have the engine. Now what is class? The simple way to understand what a class is just like a template, or you can just say a blueprint for other objects. So it's just the blueprint. So when you have a car that has that has all these function: the car, the brake, gear, engine, and the shell, and so many more. Even the color, the weight, all those stuff are all what makes up what a car is. Now if you look at all these things I'm mentioning, almost every of this car has it. The Audi, they all follow from this part. Anybody want to make a car, you want to make a car, you come to this same family, you know all what a car has. No matter what the only thing you change in the car is just the name. So the only thing that differentiates you bring the same quality, and you make your own. Probably you are trying to make your own more faster, or make your own more stronger, whatever you're trying to do. But at the same time, whatever a car always have is what that your car will have: the brake and so many more. So now 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 the car itself is what we call the class. You that is coming to get from the same properties of a car to create your own car, you are now called your company, or your brand is now called what? The object. Because your object is what? Derived from what? The main family, which is the car. So now whenever we are dealing with car, I'll also explain this also. Whenever we are dealing with classes, or when you're dealing with whenever you're dealing with classes are divided into two. We have what we call what? The method, and we have what we call the method, and we have what we call the property. So now let's bring back that car, for example. So now if you look at those things that make up a car, there are things that we call the properties, and there are things we also call the method. Or let me use not use the word method. Let me call property, and let me call function, instead of using the word method. So let me say the function. So a method can also be you can view a method as a function. So you can view a method as a function. You can view a property as a variable. That's how we view it. Now let me put it in this way: property and function. Now okay, let's just leave it in the same category. So now in that car, we have what we call we have the color of the car. Now the way you could view a property is that they are not performing a particular their functions. Their function are not that valuable in the car. So they are not that tangible compared to what the method does. So it's not that they're not important, but they're not as important as, okay, now let me explain. Now for example, we have the car, we have the color of the car, we have the weight of the car, we have the brand of that car, we have the whatever the features that make up that car. Now all those things you can view it as what? The properties. You can view it. You can have a car without a color. You can have a car. You can have a car without even caring about the weight. So all those things you see, they seem to be less important compared to what I want to mention now, the method. Now what are the method in that car? The brake. You can't have a car without a brake. A brake, the word brake, the more is a physical. You can call it a physical stuff that perform what? A particular job. So the brake is not there to perform a fancy job in the car like the color would. So the brake there is necessary, very much necessary in the car. Also another thing again is the gear. The gear is also a method. The gear is very, very, very necessary for that car. So you can't do without the gear. Same thing with the seat also. So you could view the method as those necessary things, those particular let's say you can view the method like this. They are properties, but they are properties that do what? Perform a particular job, a particular function inside of the car. So they're not just there for they are those properties that you can't do without. So they perform what? Proper job for they make that car function. So that's what the difference. So now how does this relate to what we are going to build? So when we come into programming, we will have things like properties. Now, for example, property instead of properties like I mentioned inside your program. Now, for example, first name, last name, middle name, all those things are just property. They're just property. They're not performing a job. So even though they are kind of important because they help perform other job. They help. Not that they're the main stuff, but they help. The last name, the middle name, they are just there for you to do what? Use it to do whatever you want to do. It's not that they are the main stuff. Now you now have stuff like register, login, update, update profile picture. You see now, this one now they are no longer, they are very important inside of the website. You know, these ones are now functions. They're now performing job. The register, you need it to do what? Allow people inside of the website and also secure your website. So that's what the register does. It secure the website. It's there where you secure the website. You filter who you need, filter you accept and add a lot of security to that website through the register. Now you have the login also. The login also is also add a lot of security to the website too, preventing or anybody from entering into that website except the user of the website. You have your upload or update profile picture or update profile details. So those functions, they are all there to do what? Perform tasks. You need that for in case to help your user do what? Increase the user experience. So your user, sometimes your user will want to change a particular name or change a particular stuff. So you can see the difference there. The property seems to be more static. They're not performing that kind of, they're not like that active function. They're not performing that active job, but the function are just active. They are active. They're performing work for you. So now let's go into how we create a class. So we create class using what? The class keyword. So we create class using a class keyword. And I also remind you again, a class is a template. It's just like a template. So just always put your mind as if you are creating what? A template to that other stuff is going to use. You're creating a template that other variable may use. Now we have, let me use this. Explain. Right, I'm going to comment on everything I have here before. So this is it. So now this is what we call what? The property, and this is what we call the method. So now you can see the property is what? Name. It's just a name. Now we have what? The color. So we have a class called what? Fruit. So we are declaring, whenever you want to create a class, you must declare it with what? The class keyword, then the name of your class. You can write it with whatever you want to call your class. You can call it anything you want. So right now we are dealing what? We are calling it what? Fruit. So here we are dividing it into two, the properties and what? The method. Now like I said, the method could be they're just static stuff. So we have what? The name of the fruit, and what? The color of that particular fruit. Now we are still going to explain what this public means. We're going to explain what it is, but let me just give you a little bit of so what is public mean is that it's just, you're just as it can be accessed anywhere. Anyone can access what? This particular property. So that's what this public is doing here. So even if you put the property or you do not put it there, by default every stuff without what? Any by default all these properties and value are all public by default. You can see this one here without public, they are all public. That is by default. So meaning that they can be accessed and they can be used anywhere. So now we now have the method. So now what is the method doing here now? Now you can see here that we don't have what, we are not assigning any actual fruit here. That's because this is what, a template to be used. This is just a template to be used. Now what we're doing here is we are creating a way, we are creating a method in which what, whenever we want to use this template, this particular place, how can we fill in the value inside of here? So we are saying what, we are creating a method to do what, fill in the value that is supposed to be inside of this place. So here we are creating a method. So you can call it whatever you want to call it, but remember always to call your variable or function a name that suits whatever job that it does. So here we are doing what, setting the name for this. We are creating a method that what, set the name for this particular properties. So now you in your, you may be looking at this and you'll be saying this is a variable and this is a function. In object we call this it is called properties and method. So it's just the same thing. The property is just the same thing as your variable, and the method is just the same thing as your regular function. So just that in OOP we call it properties and method. So here we are just creating an argument here. So we are saying what, whenever a user puts something inside of this, whenever you call this set function, a user need to put what, a value here. Whatever he puts here enters here, and do what, enters here, and this will enter what, here. Now you'll be looking at this keyword. Now what is this keyword here? This keyword refers to what, the owner of the class. Or you can say this keyword refers to what, the owner of the object, or you can say the owner of the class. So what this thing here is, this keyword is doing here is what, is just the same thing as saying the name of, you are just saying get this name, get the name that the person, whoever the user is putting here, that is going to enter here. So you know this and this is the same thing. So get it and do what, pass it inside of what, here. So how do you call this particular name here? Yeah, let me differentiate it to make it different so you understand. So this is what, incoming, in name, let me just call it in name. So this is coming in, a name that is coming in. So this is it. Now this one here, now we're not saying this name that is coming in, how do we get it to this place? So you need to do what, call this first, call the class. Even though you are still inside of here, you still need to do what, call the class before getting what, this particular name. So that's why it's just the same thing as saying what, fruit what. So instead of fruit, give me what, the name that is there. So that's the same thing, but the best way to write it is what, we use what, this keyword. So you put a $sign this. So now referring to what, this keyword refer to what, this. Now we're saying instead of the fruit, give me what, the name. So you can see that the hyphen and the greater than sign that is used to create the arrow. So now so now again, another thing you have to note again is that if you look at here now, we are turning this fruit, since this thing here represent what, this, and this represent what, this. Why don't we have what, the $sign here? So whenever you have $sign here with this keyword here, you don't put what, $sign here. So you just put it, you just write it. You don't really need to put the $sign any longer. So next thing is this next method. So what this next method is doing here is that the next method is actually returning whatever we have already put here. We want to output it. So let's see what the user have put here. So we are doing what we are saying, we are creating another function to do what, return it for us. So now let's put this in use. So how do you put it in use? You need to give an object this class to use it. Let's say now we use what, the new keyword. Whenever you're trying to give a class to what? An object. You use the new keyword. So you use a new keyword to declare it. Then you call the name of what? Your class. So the name of the class. So it's case sensitive. I have to use fruit. So put this. Don't need to put that. So you don't need to put that. So you put equals to, then the object that is trying to use it. So let's say Apple is about to use it. So a variable called what? Apple. Okay, let's say first fruit. Let me not use Apple. Let's say first fruit. First fruit. So the first fruit object is about to use it. So we are now assigning. So what we just did now, we just carried all these whole things and do what? Put it inside of this variable. That's what we just did here. We just grabbed everything, meaning that this thing here have just did what? This name here have just represent what? Here. So now let's use it. So we are saying this first fruit. So first fruit variable, first fruit. So now what we want to do is now we want to call this particular method here. So when we call this method, we want to assign what? The name that is supposed to enter here. So we are going to say arrow set first fruit. So let's use apple like you use to set name method, and we are passing what? Apple as the name of the first fruit. So the name of the fruit is apple. So next thing again we want to do again is we are going to call this apple. If you copy part, let's copy part so you can see. So copy part, go to my browser. Oh, I think this is already open. So now I'm trying to show you that there's nothing working there. So now let's try to output stuff. So now the one that what we just did now is what? Put value inside of this. Now the next thing we need to do now is what? Output the value that we have put. So how do we output the value? We have already a second method for doing that. So the second method is variable. So variable fruit. So let's grab what? The second method, which is the second method there is what? Get fruit. So get underscore fruit. Oh, sorry, get underscore name. So get underscore name. So we don't have to pass anything inside. So close this. Yeah. So now let's echo it. Let's just echo this function because this is the function we need to echo. So we're just going to do echo. So when I refresh, you can see it's not echoing what we put there. But remember that we have two property. So now how do we put value inside of this second property, this color? So we are going to create a method to do what? Put value inside of this. So I'm just going to come here, going to duplicate this thing I have here twice to put for the. So this one is for the name. So this one will be for the color. So this will be color. So you can still leave this thing. It's just the same thing. This is just an argument. You can just leave it if you choose. Or you can, if it's going to be confusing, let me change it to color. Same thing as this. Change this to, because it's the same thing, whatever is coming from here. So now this place here, this refers to what? This you really need to change it to what? Whatever is in that place, which is just color. So now how do we get, let's get the color. So to get the color we can just, so I'm going to come here and say get what color. To get color, you can call it anything you want to call it to. It's not that I'm calling the get color. You have to stick there. Just like you can call it anything you want to call it. So the get what, this one is to get what, get the color. So get the color first. So here I'm going to, so you see the beauty of this is that I don't need to come and write, if I don't really need to come and write all I just need to do is come here and do what, do the same thing I did here. So I'll say variable first fruit hyphen set color, pass the parentheses, and this one put color of the fruit. Let me just say green is the color, green. So next thing I'm going to do is, now let me put space. Now how do we get the color? You can just, let's duplicate this and write get color. So when I refresh, this is it. So remember that this thing is not designed. That's why you're not having a break. If you want to put a break, you can just equal break here. Equal your break. PR. So refresh. That is it. So I'm going to stop here. Just want you to go and process this one after. Okay.